If you begin early, the wealth belongs to you. If you start early, all the fortunes that are attainable to people are within grasp. If you start early, the promise looms great, and the odds are significantly in your favor. Now, it's possible to make significant moves even if you start late and still end up with some wonderful items. But when you haven't got much time left, sometimes the decisions needed are so drastic that individuals are unwilling to make them. They grow too exhausted, too worn out, or too sick, thinking, I don't have much time left. It's not going to happen for me anyway. It's easy to adopt this attitude, but for everyone here, we've got time. Over the next 10 years, we've got the time. Over the next 20 years, we've got the time. Over the next 30 years, we have the time to repair our past mistakes and build new habits. I guarantee you, this will change everything. In 5 years, I hope you will find yourself in a well-designed location, one of productivity, a place that makes you feel good about yourself, a place that offers you dignity and respect. It will be a place that provides you influence and allows you to affect others in ways you couldn't now. In 5 years, where will you be? Key phrase, we go in the direction we face. If you begin creating your future at the end of this direction, you will undoubtedly move in that direction. Next phrase, direction dictates destination. Your destiny is not defined by hope or want. It is determined by the course you follow. You cannot change your destination overnight. You can't get to a place 5 years from now tomorrow. But here's what you can change right now, your course. It's remarkable how a slight alteration in direction may lead to massive change. A few decisions in discipline, a few changes in behavior, some modifications in learning, and a few decisions to create goals that you may have disregarded in the past, all of this can shift your course radically. Like when I was 25, I didn't have a list, so I altered that. I began to adjust my trajectory, and within 7 years, I was a billionaire. That was only my financial journey, but I'm also happy for the conditions and events that formed my route. Some things are arranged in ways we don't entirely grasp. Just think about the chain of circumstances that brought you here today. It's astounding to imagine how all those doors have to open and close for you to be in this auditorium. None of us merely dropped from the sky, yet here we are. And so we admit it's a mystery, and instead of attempting to figure it all out, we simply embrace it. Now that we're here, how can we collectively and individually make a difference in each other's lives? By doing what we've already started. Studying, learning, teaching, shaking hands, swapping tales, and supporting one another make the journey toward a new direction. So write this down. It's simply a tiny voyage to a new direction. The promise of the future is a great force. My mentor once told me, Billy, if you continue these disciplines and skills, if you keep increasing productivity, learning to work with people, mastering your job, and teaching, I promise you will find a unique place. He kept repeating that to me. I promise you things will change. I promise you a bank full of money, a heart full of appreciation, a family with uncommon respect, and an audience that will never leave you. Take it from me, I know your dedication. If you keep up this pace, the day will come. He painted a picture so vivid that I couldn't sleep some nights. One day he remarked, you'll walk into a room full of people, and as you enter, someone will say, that's him. That's the renowned man. I thought, that could never happen to me. I was raised in obscurity. One of my first skills was milking cows. How does that connect to stepping into a room and having someone say, that's him? That's the dude. The famous man. But sure enough, year after year, audience after audience, book after book, that promise started to come true. I only wish my mentor, Mr. Shah, could see this now. He would say, I told you. I said, listen to what they're saying. I told you it would happen. It's happening, and I wonder how much further it can go. It's great. That's the power of language. It carries people into the future, and I'm asking you to do the same. The same applies to your company, the individuals that work for you, and especially your family. You must give them a glimpse of the future so they can strive for exceptional things. If they can see it, they'll take big steps. If they can't, they'll take only little steps. Help them perceive themselves as better than they are. Sometimes we must assist others see themselves as they truly are. If your child has screwed up, you must say, "John, you've messed up." But here's the key. Never leave them in the mess. If they've made a mistake, how soon can they turn it around? Almost overnight. What could be the promise of the future if they select a new path? Something utterly gigantic and astounding. So, we go rapidly from acknowledging the mistake to illustrating how fast they can recover and double their future in a positive way instead of the negative road that lead them here. The gift of words may perform miracles. It can rescue a person from oblivion and propel them into a future filled with hope and possibilities. Don't be lazy in using this gift. Some may wonder, how good do we need to be at it? The answer is simple, as excellent as you possible can be. Someone might respond, well, this is only a child. But what better place to start rectifying mistakes and establishing a vision for the future? We cannot disregard them as just children. This child could be the next superstar, the next great innovator who builds firms and employs millions. This child, if properly guided and inspired, can achieve greatness. Here's what occurs when someone embarks on a new path. Their self-esteem begins to grow. It doesn't take much to feel good about yourself. Just commit to a new route. Even something as modest as an apple a day, dedicated to a new health regimen, can be the foundation for the healthiest years of your life. Just munch on that first apple and know that this is the beginning of a transformation. You don't need to publicize it to the world. The act itself is enough. If you eat an apple the next day, you begin to experience an unbelievable sensation of momentum. Someone might argue, it's just 2 apples. But to you, it demonstrates something powerful. You're on your way. Without an audience, microphones, or external affirmation, you've convinced yourself that you're building a healthier, stronger future. That's how easy it is to transform your life. You don't need some big vision. Just start something. Whether it's health, finances, or personal growth, simply get back on track. One of the big lessons I got from CH when I met him was this: poverty is often the product of poor thinking habits, not poor working habits. Most people work hard, but they don't think hard. CH told me that the mind is like a factory, a mental factory. Whatever you think about all day long pours components into this machine, molding the economic, social, and financial framework of your existence. He quoted a Bible verse, "As you think, so you become." That struck me. When he spoke about faulty thinking habits, I recognized he was accurate. I used to start my day by reading the morning newspaper. Believe it or not, I'd get a cup of coffee and plunge into stories about wars, riots, murders, bank robberies, and catastrophes. I even read the back pages. I appeared to have an odd fascination with them. I loaded my thoughts with all that negativity, then started my day. You can image the kind of days I had. Someone says, "I want to be a great leader." Wonderful. The first thing we do is follow them home. When we arrive there, we check their library. Why? Because what a person reads pours tremendous components into their mental factory. Their life is created from those materials. You wouldn't believe what some individuals keep in their houses to read. You wouldn't believe it. The best way I can describe much of it: trash. Imagine dumping a barrel of trash into your mental factory every day and expecting a rich, dynamic, and positive life. It can't be done. You might as well try baking a cake with cement. One day, while speaking at Danbury High School in Connecticut, the students asked me questions. They had great questions. One of them asked, "Mr. Ron, how do you build a good life?" I told them it's simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. Here's how you build it. Everything begins with a thought. It all starts there. So you must be wise and careful about what you think, because your thoughts shape everything. I asked the kids, what would happen if someone dropped sugar in my coffee? They said, "You'd be fine." I then asked, what if someone dropped strychnine in my coffee? They responded, "You'd be dead." I said, correct. Lesson 1. Life is a mix of sugar and strychnine, and you need to be careful. I continued, what if my worst enemy put sugar in my coffee? They said, "You'd be fine." I asked, what if my best friend, even by accident, dropped strychnine in it? They said, "You'd be dead." I said, correct. Lesson 2, watch your company. Be cautious, because it doesn't matter who gives you the bad stuff. It will still do harm, no matter where it comes from. Mr. Shah taught me a great lesson when I first met him. Graham, every day, stand guard at the door of your mind. He said, it's crucial to stand guard and decide what enters your mental space. Don't let anyone dump anything in your mind, because you'll have to live with the consequences. Philosophy is simply what you know now. To correct a couple of old sayings, what you don't know will hurt you, and ignorance is not bliss. It's incredibly important to have the right philosophy because it directs your life. Philosophy sets your course. It's not just what you know. It's essential to be aware of what you know. I always encourage the kids, get as much information as you can while you're in school. I spoke to the Newport Harbor High School students last year and this year, and I told them, make sure to gather all the knowledge you can now. I know it's hard. I know it's a struggle to read all the books, attend the classes, and earn good grades. But trust me, every bit of knowledge you miss can make a difference. It will influence your future, the legacy you build, and your success over the next few years. So start with a solid philosophy. I divide philosophy into 3 categories. First, there's basic philosophy, the initial processing of information. A baby reacts right away, feeling that cold is bad, warmth is good, hunger is awful, and food is wonderful. This is where it all starts. Next is expanded philosophy, the knowledge and skills needed to be employed, contribute to society, and find your place in the world. But to achieve wealth, power, sophistication, influence, and uniqueness, you need refined philosophy. Refined philosophy is the extra thinking, extra study, extra debate, and extra pondering of ideas. It's in this space, testing ideas, pushing boundaries, and learning, that life's true richness comes. These steps are where wealth and happiness lie. This refined thinking is where the good life is found. Our philosophy comes from many places. The teachings of others, the books we read, the classes we attend, and the influence of those around us. The key word here is influence. In another series, we discussed 3 big questions. Who am I surrounded by? This is a crucial question. The second, what are they doing to me? Where are they leading me? What are they having me read, think, say? And the most important question, what are they shaping me to become? Influence plays a massive role in shaping our philosophy. It affects how we think, what we say, and the values we develop. All of this is vital to our growth. The mind processes information and ideas, which are simply information taking form. What we know is shaped by what we learn and process, and then we weigh it. We place this information on our mental scales, assigning it a value, usually not consciously, but we do it nonetheless. If we hear something and deem it valuable, we might give it a high score. When faced with something, we typically act based on its importance. If it's not significant, we might let it slide. But if we believe it matters, we'll take action. It's crucial to analyze, especially while gaining leadership abilities. One essential concept in this is perception, how we locate value in something. Where is its value? How valuable is it? What's its genuine importance? Is there something buried beneath the surface that we can't notice straight away? What's behind it? What's beyond it? What's its origin? These are essential questions that affect our impression of value. Ideas and information need to be properly assessed. Here's a critical point. It's important to have sound mental scales. If your mental scales are off and you misweigh things even slightly, do you think it would affect your life? Absolutely. A tiny miscalculation lasting a decade can lead to a major difference. Let me share a meaningful phrase with you. Life is cumulative. We either accumulate debt or value. We either accumulate regret or equity. We must all face one of two forms of pain, the agony of discipline or the pain of regret. I advocate for mental discipline, refining ideas. Yes, it's labor-intensive, and yes, it takes work, but it's a tiny price to pay to avoid regret later. Regret weighs tons, whereas discipline weighs ounces. If you accept the discipline of thought early on, refining ideas instead of letting significant questions to go by, it will pay off. What about society? What about government, taxes, religion, life, capital, business? What about your life, your value, your place, your future? What about your origin, your destiny, opportunity, and possibility? To let these essential questions pass by casually is to miss out on the treasures your life could acquire over time. Our ideas and ponderings set the direction of our lives, much like the set of a sail directing a ship to its goal. The world can be dangerous, therefore you need to be wise and cautious. Attitude disorders can be just as detrimental as physical ailments, things like high blood pressure or heart disease. These attitude diseases can undermine all the positive things you've worked for. They're like weeds in a garden, part of life, but harmful if left unchecked. Here's a key phrase: negativity is normal, but it's not successful. It's just a part of life. The next step is to learn to tolerate negativity. Don't ignore it. Deal with it. Some may advocate ignoring it, but listen to all sides. Then decide for yourself. You have to control the negative. You don't need to live in it, but you must handle it. This brings us to a broader battle, the everlasting conflict between good and evil. The moment you're born, you're involved in this fight. It's the war between light and darkness, positive and negative, good and bad, dictatorship and democracy, weeds and human growth. If democracy sleeps, tyranny never does. In the absence of light, blackness is automatic. If good doesn't act, evil takes over. It's a mental, physical, and financial war. It's a conflict between enterprise and ease, accomplishment and failure. That's why there's an ancient saying from the Old Testament offering sound advice: work for 6 days, relax on the 7th. We typically perceive this as a suggestion to work 6 days and take 1 day off. But it also implies that if you take too much rest, you could lose the war. We've altered it to 5 days of labor and 2 days of rest, which may be less hazardous, but who knows? Perhaps if God had planned a 5-2 schedule, he would have made it apparent. The argument is, enterprise is better than ease. If you rest too long, the jungle, sea or difficulties will engulf the village. The good news in this war is that evil cannot withstand good, but good must be engaged. Weeds can't override human effort, but if you stay motionless, they'll take over. If you stay active, you can retake ground as far as you like. This is why the 6 days of labor and 1 day of rest matter. It ensures you're not losing the war. Focus on establishing your personal philosophy. Your philosophy is like a guide system, and it achieves 2 things. It helps you recognize there are dangers around, so you must avoid building on shaky ground. Your guiding system helps you spot possibilities in these situations, and that's what life's drama is all about, danger coexisting with opportunity. Los Angeles, for example, is a town full of exceptional prospects, but they are associated with risk. If you're a pedestrian and the light turns green, you best wait a second or two before crossing just to save your life. Danger and opportunity walk hand in hand. Learning to comprehend one helps you avoid it, while learning to seize the other. Your guidance system must be active and attentive, and it needs to start early. The temptation is constantly present. When I was a child, I saw a cartoon showing a small boy with a devil on one shoulder and an angel on the other, both whispering in his ears. What was that? It's called high drama. Every day we face temptations, and some of them might be disastrous in a single minute. Here's an example. A parent who loves his family, is respected in the community, and owns a great business, yet he's late for an appointment. The light turns red, and a voice says, "Go, you can make it this time." He goes, and suddenly he's gone. This wasn't a nasty man, just a careless one. Everyone's guiding system must be aware, whether dealing with moral concerns or ethical decisions. That's why the classic petition states, "Let us not into temptation." This is part of life's grand drama, the fight between the spoiler and the creator. Why much drama? Because it's the only way to generate a human experience. In life, opposites are always in struggle, and we find ourselves in the center of it. Whether it's at business, at home, with friends, or in health, it's always a drama in our veins. There are red blood cells that nourish us and white blood cells that defend us. You need both. White blood cells say, "Just show me some infection, and I'll fight it, because if they don't fight, it might be fatal." Someone is going to get wounded today, but there's always a war between good and evil bacteria. Imagine picking up a book where the first chapter says everything is fine, the second chapter says everything is fine, and so on. Would you keep reading? Of course not. But what if in the first chapter the fight is on? Then you might keep reading. Life is like that. It's a war from the start. Now, would it be feasible to win if you couldn't lose? Imagine we all go to a football stadium and you cross the goal line. Would we cheer and call it a touchdown? Not unless you face the 300-pound defenders. Life's obstacles work the same way. Now, we must figure out how to double all the positive energies in life by following a few easy principles. First, understand your philosophy. Like putting the sail on a ship, the wind will constantly blow, but to attain your goals, you don't curse the wind. Instead, you learn to set a better sail. You'll become so proficient at setting your sail that no matter the winds, they will still carry you toward your dreams. Next, decision-making is powerful and emotive. It's the feeling in your gut, waking up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat, divided between choices. Sometimes we call it an inner civil war. But to achieve progress, you must decide. The best advice I ever received came from a wealthy buddy who said, "If it's easy, do it easy. If it's hard, do it hard. Just get it done." If you went home tonight and cleared your list of decisions, it could provide enough inspiration for years to come. I've found that once you decide, getting on with it is easier than deciding. Often, the choosing itself is the difficult part. Then there's desire, wanting something strongly enough. I can't teach you how to want something, but there are two things I know about want. First, it comes from within, not from outside. You don't just ask for it. Second, desire can be awakened by something unexpected. Maybe it's a book, a song, a sermon, a lecture, a discussion, or an event. The best advice I can give you is what I tell my team: welcome every human experience. You never know which one will start a fire inside you. Even bad experiences can spark the greatest realizations. So let down your guard. The same walls that shut out disappointment also keep out happiness. Let life touch you, but don't let it break you.